The following is an AZPM original production.
For AZPM, I'm Mark McLemore, and this is Arizona Spotlight. Coming up, explore the Master-Apprentice Program from the Southwest Folklife Alliance. Nature writer Rebecca Doyle celebrates the annual arrival of the Elegant Trogon. A Book I Love features voices of visitors to Cyclovia Tucson, and the return of sound fiction with Homestead on Bellatrix Prime, written by James Mustard. Those stories are next on Arizona Spotlight. One of the first female mariachi directors in the Southwest, Andrea Gallegos, has been playing mariachi for more than 30 years. In 2023, she was named a recipient of the Master-Apprentice Award by the Southwest Folklife Alliance in support of her work in keeping traditional mariachi alive. Here's Carly Siegel with more on the story.
Gallegos' initial attraction to mariachi began at age 13, when her godparents hired a mariachi band to perform for their anniversary party. The music sparked something inside of her.
I just thought it was so cool that she could play the violin, and then she sang so beautifully that I was like, I want to do that. You want to be that person that you see, and she had this nice suit with the shiny botonadura on the side. It was just really appealing for the first time seeing it.
The folk-style music, which originated in western Mexico, is often played at celebrations, combining a distinct melody through the variety of instruments played, like the violin, guitarrón, harp, and singing. In 1997, Gallegos helped start Mariachi Sonido de Mexico. She was 13 years old at the time. The professional co-ed mariachi group was in need of a violinist, so she stepped in. Her interest in mariachi quickly deepened, admiring the combination of the brass and string instruments, singing in distinctive black traje de charro uniform adorned with silver pieces.
Honestly, I was getting a little bored with classical music, and then there's no singing. And I just liked that you could play and sing at the same time. And so it just seemed interesting to me. And then once you start playing the music, the rhythms and stuff, it kind of hooks you.
Gallegos became the group's director in 2005. She describes the band being deeply connected as generations of families continue to evolve and play in it, including her own.
There's generations of Sonido de Mexico. So the main group, most of the people that were in that group, we played together for about 8 to 10 years before the next generation of the group came in. And usually people leave because of a new career path, or because for everybody this is a hobby.
Her 2 sons have been raised with the music being a big part of their upbringing, attending many practices over time.
When I had both of my boys, I played until I was 9 months pregnant with both of them. And they were always surrounded with mariachi music and always attended rehearsals, because I had to bring them with me. And their dad is also a musician, a mariachi musician and educator. So he was our director. So it was like a family affair, One of them really loves mariachi and the other one really hates mariachi music. And so now my son that plays with me, I'm like, okay, I don't know how long I'm going to be, running this group, but eventually it's going to be you and Neve, or it's going to be handed off.
Gallego says family involvement in mariachi is not uncommon, enhancing the unique bond that the band maintains.
Marcy and Clarissa and our other group, they're sisters. We have people that are related to each other that kind of it creates a family environment, or we've known each other for so many years that we consider each other family. I think that's kind of something that mariachi music in the community setting creates.
And family isn't just through blood in Mariachi Sonido de Mexico. Gallegos has worked closely with Nevaeh Esquivel, a senior at the University of Arizona. Esquivel was welcomed into the group when she was 15 years old, and she's now Gallego's apprentice, after being recognized through the Southwest Folklife Alliance Master-Apprentice Program. This scholarship allows master artists to pass down traditional cultural and heritage practices to their students. Esquivel started singing and playing instruments when she was 5 years old, and in high school, she joined the youth mariachi group, Los Changuitos Feos, that was led by Gallegos' brother, Joaquin. She's since become a section leader for Sonido, fine-tuning the music ahead of performances.
I work with Andrea and I work with our other section leaders, David and Nick, and we kind of all collectively just lead the group. We practice different pieces, harder pieces, more simple pieces, and just to make sure that everything sounds how we want it to, that we're putting out a good product for people.
The bond between Gallegos and Esquivel has blossomed into a friendship full of admiration and mentorship.
She brought me in and she was the most kind person. She always reassured me.
Esquivel works to keep the vibrant and festive tradition of mariachi music alive, inspiring young children to find their love for the music in the same way she did.
That's where it all starts, is the youth groups. That's where everyone here started. Everyone that we work with has started from a youth group. So it's kind of hard. I definitely still see the inspiration in the kids. I just think, like Andrea said earlier, it's less funded.
Gallegos has plans to host more mariachi workshops for young kids.
My goal is to put on more workshops, and especially more in the Tucson community, because and we do have a mariachi conference, but I feel like in a smaller group setting, kids like are more inspired and feel a little bit more involved. And so I'm trying to like create that with my music foundation, and with like I feel like our group members, I kind of ask a lot of them, because not only do I ask you to show up and play and do your job, but I also kind of ask you to be involved in like the extra things, like to be mentors when we have these workshops.
Gallegos calls Esquivel her right-hand man while looking forward to Sonido's future. The apprenticeship program has allowed them to keep the tradition of mariachi music alive, passing down the heritage to the next generation of musicians right here in Tucson. For Arizona Spotlight, I'm Carly Siegel.
As if the Sonoran Desert's native population wasn't already amazing, there's an annual visitor to this region that all by itself attracts attention from around the world. This essay is by author and listener Rebecca Doyle, an outside contributor to the show, and her opinions are her own.
If you are a birder or know one, then you may have heard the term spark bird, the bird that turns a casual observer into a serious birder. My first sighting of an elegant trogon, a red, white, and glittering green bird, an emblem of the tropics on par with toucans and parrots, was that spark. I was with a group of friends out to see my first trogon, and we were listening for the call, which in the case of trogons has been described as a bark or a croak. Birders tend to focus on finding a bird based on call or flight, not randomly scanning. One of the things I like most about birding is inspecting a section of the landscape as though looking for a needle in a haystack. I studied the canopy of oaks and pines alongside the trail in Madera Canyon and spotted my first trogon, a bird not much larger than a robin, on a branch. I have been lucky to enjoy a number of trogon sightings since that first spark, a dozen years ago. The trogon's predilection for fruits and large insects confines them mostly to tropical forests, but some Mexican populations of the elegant trogon migrate north in spring to breed in the pine, oak, and sycamore-lined canyons of southeastern Arizona. Madera Canyon, in the Santa Rita Mountains south of Tucson, is one of the northernmost breeding locations for this most northern of all trogons. I have been fortunate to see the elegant trogon in Madera Canyon and Cave Creek in the Chiricahua Mountains. These and a handful of other canyons and foothills in Arizona's Sky Islands are home to approximately 100 to 200 elegant trogons from April or May to September or October. A few hardy trogons stay in Arizona year-round at locations such as Patagonia Lake, but most head south in the fall to warmer climes and abundant bugs and berries. Although there were no fruits yet, or masses of insects, I set out hopefully in late April to celebrate the return of the trogons. Leaving behind the low deserts, Madera Canyon Road ascends the Bajada, transitioning from mesquite grassland to pine oak woodlands, where it enters the canyon and begins following the curves of Madera Creek. I am on the trail for just a few minutes when I encounter a group of birders. Binoculars focus on the forest canopy. I ask quietly as I approach, and one replies that the trogon flew away moments before. I continue on, encouraged but slightly disappointed. Another 5 minutes, and I hear a familiar call down in the canyon. I descend an informal trail, and seconds later see a male trogon on an oak branch, likely feeding, judging from his brief flights as he disappears repeatedly into the canopy, reappearing each time to rest on a branch. Continuing up the canyon, I soon hear another trogon calling steadily. I wonder if other trogons are listening and what they make of the message. I decide to revisit the trogon nest site that I happened upon last August. At that time, I noticed a female trogon on a branch, eating a butterfly. After a while, she darted into a hole in a dead oak, and immediately I heard murmurings. Baby trogons. Soon she was gone, and 2 tiny trogons with beaks as large as their heads popped out of the hole. I watched from afar as they jostled, beaks open for another butterfly snack. After years of checking snags and holes in oaks and sycamores, I had finally succeeded in finding a trogon nest. I did not stay long so as to minimize any impact my presence might have, and continued along the trail until, rounding a bend, I spotted 2 black bear cubs below me in the canyon, and seconds later, their mother, looking up in my direction. They were still 100 or so yards away. Slowly, steadily, I began walking backwards. Once the bears were out of view, I sped up to increase the distance, barely registering the male trogon that swooped in front of me. Trogons and bears, oh my! I thought about how this special place draws visitors from around the world, how this afternoon I saw license plates from Washington to Vermont and overheard Australians talking trogons. I felt grateful to live so close to the tropics as I took one last walk along the creek, listening to the sheep-like call of canyon tree frogs and imagining a trogon arriving in the golden light of an April evening, rounding the cliffs of Elephant Head and turning at last into Madera Canyon, cheered on by the frog chorus, like a marathon runner on the final mile, following the ribbon of bright green cottonwoods up into the oaks and pines and sycamores, home at last for the summer. Welcome back, trogons. For Arizona Spotlight, this is Rebecca Doyle.
Tucsonan Rebecca Doyle has many published articles, stories, and essays that have sprung from her outdoor adventures. Her 5-word motto is write, bike, hike, paddle, bird. Cyclovia Tucson is an annual event presented by Living Streets Alliance. It offers an invitation to walk, bike, roll, connect, and play on car-free and carefree streets. The 2025 event was held at the beginning of April on the Treat Avenue Bicycle Boulevard. Spotlight's assistant producer Sophia Hammer was there to ask some book lovers in attendance to share about a book I love.
My name is Catherine Pellegrini. I am a lifelong lover of books and reading. My favorite book in the whole wide world is Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. It's a great book story about friendship and love and understanding differences in people and species and being friends with everyone, and that life is not guaranteed to go on forever. And it inspired me to be a vegetarian.
Really? Wow. And what's your favorite character in the book?
It has to be Charlotte. Yeah, she's the spider. She's wonderful, and she's friends to everyone.
Hi, my name is Susana Doherty. I've been in Tucson for around 15 years, And my favorite book is We Are All Wonders, because they say we can be different, but at this, under God's eyes, we are all the same.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character or something that inspires you, like a story in the book?
The little child, like he's like all the friends seem like different, but in the end of the day, again, he is the same as we all are.
I'm Elena and I'm in 3rd grade. I like Mo Willems because his books are entertaining and childlike, and I can read them to my brother. I like Gerald and Piggy and Pigeon. They're very silly for like even 10-year-olds, and I'm not 10, but I'm 9, but it's very entertaining for me.
I'm Gail Scarborough. I'm 69.
Tell us about a book that you love.
The most recent book that I love, and I will love one book for like a decade or two, is All the Light We Cannot See. That is about a young lady and her uncle who live in France during World War II, and she is blind, and it's how they both navigate wartime Paris. Amazing, poetic, just wonderful.
Are you somebody who loves or gravitates towards history books?
Absolutely. Historic novels are my thing. I think people should read it, especially during this period.
Hi, my name is Mari White. I go to the U of A.
And do you have a book that you love right now?
I do have a book that I love. A book that I love that I just reread was A Long Way Down. But it's a really good book. It deals with like grief and revenge and like young children having to understand how to handle those really big topics. And I think it does it in a really cool way. So basically what happens is this young boy finds out that somebody he loves dearly passed away due to, gun violence, and he is met with the option of going up and finding and getting revenge for the person he loves. So he enters this elevator ride, and it's just from the 8th floor to the 1st floor. He's confronted with people throughout his life, either if it's real or if it's somebody that he's met through somehow another realm, and he gets to deal with grief, and it's really cool.
Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm a U of A student.
And tell me about a book you love, Hannah.
Right now I'm rereading the Harry Potter series, actually, and I'm on my favorite book, the 4th one, Goblet of Fire, and it's just really nostalgic for me because I read that growing up in elementary school, and we're about to graduate, so I feel like it's kind of nice to go back to childhood a little bit, before we enter the real world for the first time.
That's great. And why is the 4th one your favorite one?
I don't know, honestly. I kind of just always liked that one the most. I think it's one of the longer ones, and I feel like it just has a lot happening in it that's kind of out of the ordinary from the other ones. There's a tournament going on in the school, which isn't typical of the other books, so I feel like that adds another exciting thing to it.
Those were the voices of some visitors to Cyclovia 2025 as interviewed by Sophia Hammer. And now the return of a segment called Sound Fiction. Next we'll hear a short slice of science fiction from writer James Mustard. It's called Homestead on Bellatrix Prime.
Our family had a 3-story house with a tiled roof and whitewashed adobe walls. It stood tall and proud by a gently sloping meadow. The morning mist would blanket this land as smoke rose from the chimney. There was a fountain outside with the statues of Castor and Pollux, a gift from my parents when I first moved here. The poplar trees swayed in the breeze every afternoon. The duck pond always had a swarm of lotus butterflies floating around. Gorgon birds would sit in the cactus trees and sing their strange songs. It was a good home for us, lasting for 3 generations. Usually there is a smell of breads and pastries from the brick oven, maybe the aroma of fresh coffee fruit jam warming on the stove. Sadly, there was none of that this morning. The only thing was a chill in the air, and a gray drizzle from a passing rain cloud. I stared out the window of my drawing room, looking into the damp landscape. The fireplace was burning some aromatic beech as I sat rolled up in a blanket. I was reading the message on my computer screen that I was to vacate my property in 12 days. I was offered 20 million credits for my home, a generous offer by the company's governing board. An onerous day it was, especially since I didn't know what to do with this news. Would I continue to sit here, waiting to die of a broken heart, or wait until my younger brother would come and try to get me to move in with them, or move to a condo by their neighborhood, or perhaps wait until the Sentinels come to collect me, take me someplace far away, like a relocation center? It was supposed to be a starport, a space station, some damn thing, but why build it here? What was so special about this place that they needed to invoke an ancient law called eminent domain to take away my land? Why take land from an old widow with nothing better to do but see her grandchildren off to school, play with her pet lizard dog, and work in the garden? My husband and I moved here nearly a century ago to get away from all the problems back on Earth. They called it the Resettlement Program. Land was offered by the company's governing board on these ready-made planets, as they were called. Some hotshot scientists back at NASA MIT figured out how to create these planets out of space debris in the asteroid belt. Some dark matter residue from inside the asteroids, mash it up with some comets, and some water ice from a different planet. Grow some plants, some animals on them, and voila, a brand spanking new world. They made 16 of them, I remember. Bellatrix Prime was the name of this one. They stuck these custom-made planets in orbit between Jupiter and Saturn and talked a bunch of Earth people into moving out here, as to depopulate the overcrowded planet. They gave us the choice to be homesteaders or city dwellers. We chose to be homesteaders so we can get an old-fashioned home, raise crops to sell back to the company. My brothers and sisters chose the city life, and they live in a megacity in the northern continent, where all their needs are provided as long as they work jobs for the company. I started to think about the time when we were younger, and our children are still school age. My husband Roy would get up in the mornings, get his tackle box set up, and head out to the pond. He wouldn't stay for breakfast and coffee. He usually filled his thermos after making a pot and made some sandwiches and left. I would wake up a half hour later, make the breakfast for the kids, and then we would get to work. When it was jam making day, I took my daughters out to the orchard. We gathered different fruits and then went back to the milpa and picked the coffee berries. We filled as many baskets as we needed. My son, since he was older, would be working on the jars, blowing the glass, making lids out of scrap metal, and printing the labels. There was a lot of good memories here. Now the company is paying me to leave them all behind. I look over and see the portraits of my ancestors above the fireplace, one of them Sally Hemings. There were others up there next to hers, faces from centuries ago. I wonder if their legacy would end here, lest I summon the courage to fight this eviction. No amount of money could ever replace the memories. How can progress be made and be called progress when you erase the past, or my past? I ponder the situation as I'm becoming a sacrifice for this new idea, building a space station so that other folks can leave the solar system and settle new worlds beyond. The exoplanets are called. I guess every bit of progress that is made requires a sacrifice, requires us to sever the ties to the past so that a future could be built upon the ruins of old homes and shattered lives. It begs the question that if progress can be made, where do we draw the line, especially when it comes to selling our own souls for it?
And now author James Mustard tells some of the story behind his short story, Homestead, on Bellatrix Prime.
When I was doing some research for Black History Month, I looked up a story about Seneca Village in New York, and I understand it was a community of color. It had African Americans, Irish, and German immigrants living there. And everyone was evicted and the entire town of Seneca Village was demolished so that they could build Central Park. So this is where I got the idea to write this story. A lot of those folks, they were able to relocate to different boroughs in New York. I believe some of them relocated to Long Island, and I didn't really find much information after that. But I did read about some of the families, some of their descendants, and they come back there and, they give tours and talk to people and tell them about the village that used to be there. I teach social studies at All Saints Catholic School in Sierra Vista. I've been teaching for about 8 years. I do spend some time with talking about gentrification, a lot of the social, economic implications of, modern development, race relations, those kind of things. We discuss that quite a bit in the context of social justice, economic justice, and that kind of thing. I've been writing science fiction for the past 2 years, and I do mix a little bit of historic facts and a little bit of inspiration from everyday life. I'm currently working on 2 novels which kind of have the same universe as this story. It's taken quite a bit of time, but I'm about halfway through each novel so far. What writing does for me, it just kind of frees my mind and kind of like an escape for me, I guess. And then if I have the opportunity, I could, share this with people and try to get them into thinking about a more positive future.
Thank you for listening to Arizona Spotlight. This show is a production of AZPM. The production engineer is Jim Blackwood. The assistant producer is Sophia Hammer. I'm producer and host Mark McLemore.
AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.